Hello again from my front porch. Well, it is Wednesday, September 27th. And so in terms of Paul's 50th birthday month of celebration, that means tonight is nothing. Well, that's not entirely true. Tonight is no social activities out and about town. Tonight is book writing night. So is tomorrow night. That's what's going on. It's what's been going on pretty much all nights of this week, because this weekend coming up is, of course, my big birthday weekend, and that's not going to allow much time for book writing. So I'm trying to get in a lot of it right now. So I got to get to that. But I thought, you know what, even though I've got nothing to be touting as far as here's the big next thing coming up right now, there is something that I did want to discuss. Now, I've said before, I'm not making these political, and definitely that is still my intent, but I have spoken out before on the whole whether people should stand for the flag, for the national anthem, and that kind of stuff. Now, last time this controversy came up, it really was centered more around mostly into those individuals who were of Muslim orientation, or others similarly who found it difficult, or for religious reasons or personal beliefs or principles, they were not comfortable standing and basically saying, even though we don't say the Pledge of Allegiance, still when you stand for the national anthem, you really are standing for the flag and the nation, the country for which it stands, just as if you were saying the Pledge of Allegiance. So there are those who for one reason or another, they do not find that to be something that they are comfortable doing. And so then there was this outrage that, well, the people going to sporting events, they just sit there. They don't stand up. And in fact, there was even a couple of videos that were floating around of where people had filmed individuals, specifically Muslim individuals, who had chose to remain sitting. One was an entire family, and so we had these guys who were filming it, and they're making snide comments or remarks about them, about how they're so un-American. Why don't they just go back to where they're from? Blah blah blah, this kind of stuff. And the intent of the video was to show how disrespectful those Muslims were for sitting down. And what I said at that time was, no, actually, it was the knuckleheads doing the filming who were more disrespectful. The individuals who chose to sit, they actually were demonstrating pretty high respect, because they were taking advantage of the First Amendment freedom of speech guaranteed by the Constitution of this great nation, which is one of the things that when we look at the flag and we say, isn't this a great nation? That's one of the things, the Constitution and the freedoms that it protects is one of the things that we're honoring when we honor the flag. And so technically, those individuals choosing to sit instead of stand because of their personal beliefs and principles were really engaging in freedom of speech, which in a roundabout way was paying respect to the flag or honoring what it stands for, because there are other countries you try to do that and you may not live to see tomorrow. And so that was a great thing about that. And I said at that point in time that it was the individuals doing the filming who weren't obviously paying attention to the anthem themselves, and but they weren't doing it as some principled thing. They were doing it to be a jerk and film other people and talk about it. They weren't paying attention to the national anthem. They weren't standing there respectfully with their hand over their heart and honoring what it stands for. So don't tell me that you're going to point your finger at somebody else and criticize them for being disrespectful when you were 10 times more disrespectful in what you're doing. That was what I said back then. Now, fast forward to today, and we've got all this controversy now because some athletes want to kneel, some athletes want to link arms, some athletes want to stand, blah, 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 blah. And we're here at the same discussion again, and I just shake my head. Now, I will tell you that personally, I'm a big fan of letting people, if they don't want to stand, then don't make them stand. That's okay. That's not a problem. Now, some have said, oh, but when they're on the clock, when they're at the stadium and stuff, and that is true technically. But if their employer, the team, doesn't have an issue with them protesting or doing some sort of demonstration that way, then hey, who are the rest of us to criticize? Their boss says it's okay, so shut up. If you don't like it, then don't pay to go to the games. Stop watching their games on TV. That's how you send a message to the employer that you disapprove, and then the employer will say, let's rethink this. Now, personally, if it was me, if I was in charge of one of those teams, my policy would flat out across the board, no matter what the demonstration is, my policy would be, whatever you do before you arrive here at the stadium or the arena or whatever you do before and whatever you do after you leave, that's up to you. That's your business. Do whatever you want. But once you're here and you're here in the facility, you as an individual cease to exist. You are now part of the team, and the team is what matters here. You are getting paid to be part of the team, and you will not do a personal demonstration on the team's time. Now, I would have that stated right up front. I would make it clear this is the expectation, so there is no confusion. And so you say, well, what about the national anthem? Are you saying that you would force them to stand, put their hand over their hearts? No, I would not force them to put their hand over their heart, but I would say you have to stand. It's expected that you will stand as a team, as a unified group. You will stand together. If you choose not to put your hand over your heart, that is completely your choice. We would not force that. But I would prohibit. No, there's no kneeling, no sitting, there's no putting stuff on your bottom of your shoe, there's no wearing a special t-shirt or making hand gestures or none of that stuff, because you cease to exist. You are part of the team. That's what I would emphasize personally. Of course, I don't actually own a team, so I don't get to do that. But now we're so messed up that not only do we have outrage over athletes who choose to not stand for the national anthem, but we even had one player on the Steelers who the whole Steelers team stayed in the locker room. That's what they thought was the good idea. I don't really still fully understand that, but they felt it was a good idea. And one Steeler, who was, as I understand it, he was an Army Ranger veteran, he stood just outside the tunnel, stood for the national anthem, and that made a big deal. And interestingly enough, his jersey sales went through the roof. People loved that he did that. But then, then apparently he got complaints from his teammates and from the team that he made everyone else in the team look bad because he did that. Well, no, actually, the rest of them made themselves look bad by choosing to. I mean, it's okay. Stand or don't stand, go on the field, don't go on the field. If the team doesn't prohibit, then do whatever you want. But by the same token, if you make a choice to do something, don't come crying because it was unpopular what you did. You reap what you sow. You chose to do that, so there you go. But he then turned around and had to issue an apology because he did stand for the national anthem. Now that's crazy. That's absolutely nuts. When we get to a point where someone feels the need that they're compelled to apologize because they did stand for the national anthem, oh my goodness, I don't get that. So I had a couple of friends who shared a couple of things. Oh, yeah, there was even an anthem singer for the Ravens who, it was announced, resigned as being a regular singer for him because of the fans who booed because some of the players knelt down. Now stop and think about that. Just stop and think about that a minute. You have players you have fans who are upset because the players aren't honoring the national anthem, and so their response is to boo during the national anthem. Now, how does that show respect to the flag? How are you showing respect to yourself? You're not. That's just that's an example of what I'm talking about. It's just dumb. It is hypocritical and it is just completely out of line. Don't worry about what anyone else is doing. Show the level of respect you want to show and let everyone else do their thing. It's not your job to police everybody else. Okay? It just is not. Now, along that line, I have a couple of friends who posted some really great comments, some really great observations regarding this on Facebook. And I want to share those with you here now because they really get to the heart of it, that there are more important issues here in general than just worrying about whether an athlete kneels. I'm not a big fan of these multimillionaire athletes anyway. I mean, for crying out loud, we're paying these guys millions upon millions of dollars to run around for a couple hours, bumping into each other and carrying a ball. I mean, Ultimately, that's what it is. I know there's strategy. I know a lot of physicality. I know there's all that kind of stuff. But ultimately, it's a game. It's a game with a ball. And these guys are running around playing the game, and we're paying them hundreds of millions of dollars to do this. Seriously. Anyway, I digress. Let me share with you what my friends wrote. So first of all, a friend of mine, Erik Brickman, shared this. And this was, I think, an absolutely phenomenal statement. He said, the healthcare reform was failing for a third time. The Russian investigation is not going away. North Korea is getting worse. Hurricane relief to Puerto Rico is stalled. All of this, and what are people going on about? Football players and their level of patriotism, thanks to a president who unleashed a tweet storm about it. Now, again, I'm not making a political statement here, but even I have said, I really kind of wish President Trump wouldn't tweet, period. Not even just tweet so much, I wish they would just take his account away. Anyway, and then he concludes though by saying, aren't any of you tired of being so easily misdirected? That is a really good point. While we spend all of our time bickering and fighting over something as minor as that athlete should be standing while the national anthem is playing, there is a lot of big stuff going on. Another good friend of mine, Tarah Knolton. Oh, by the way, both Erik and Tarah have military backgrounds, so don't be waving any of your fingers at them and saying, yeah, but they're just, because these are people who actually have served in the military. So there. Another friend of mine, Tarah Knolton, she says, OMG, get over it already. We have Florida to rebuild, Puerto Rico to get to, the Russian probe, North Korea issues, maybe even the start of World War III, and now we have the Taliban taking target practice on U.S. defense planes. Are you aware of that? Did you realize that was happening? But so Tarah, a similar list to the observations that Erik had noted. Again, not surprisingly, because they both have military backgrounds. But so they're focusing on those things. She says, I don't give a rat's about professional athletes kneeling or standing for the national anthem. And before anyone says anything about my patriotism, I am a decorated Desert Storm veteran. She is. So thank you very much for your service, Tarah, in that area. We need to move on, and we need to move on with more important issues. The house is on fire and you're looking for a missing sock. That's the comparison that she makes. Instead of worrying about the house being on fire and doing what needs to be done, we're spending our time looking for a missing sock. That's the equivalent of how she equates worrying about athletes and national anthem to these other major issues going on. But she too makes the point that we need to move on with more important issues. I wholeheartedly agree with what both of them have said, and I would challenge all of you watching to do the same, to be taking that to heart very much. And in fact, if you're really wondering about, well, what is a more significant major issue to be worrying about, I'm about to have my birthday weekend coming up. I am. This weekend we got a full roster. Going to Carroll Friday night to do all kinds of stuff in Carroll. That's going to be a lot of fun. Seeing my family, watching Dylan play, my nephew Dylan play football, doing karaoke with family. Brandy's coming along for all that. That's going to be awesome. Saturday, Brandy is coordinating a special thing for me. Well, it's an actual public thing, but she's coordinating people going that want to also join, and we're going to recognize my birthday as part of that event, that celebration, I guess. I don't really know what it is. I haven't even tried. I haven't tried, and I like it. I'm going to keep it that way. But still, that's going on. And if you're interested, if you want to know what's going on, and so that you can take part in it as well, just get a hold of Brandy Stagg Roberts. That's who she is on Facebook. Brandy Stagg with 2 G's. Brandy with a Y. Brandy Stagg Roberts. Just contact her on Facebook, and she will be happy to give you all the information you need to know to participate in this. Love to have you join us at whatever it is that's going on. And then Sunday, we've got a couple of options of some activities that we might do. We'll see. Maybe going to Somerset Winery for live music down there. But again, we'll see what happens on that. And then of course Monday, October 2nd, is my actual birthday, and that's that. I'm taking the day off so that I don't have to do much that day. Although I might work on my book some. And that night, Brandy and I are having dinner. That's the big thing. There's not a big party thing. There's just an intimate thing for us. So looking forward to that. And if you're not able to attend any of that, or you're not able to come to any of the birthday stuff going on, don't forget that there is, thanks to my youngest brother Zine telling me about it, I do have the Amazon list. And the address for that is, if you go to www.tinyurl.com, www.tinyurl.com/Paul 50th B-Day. That's Paul 50THBDAY. Paul 50th B-Day. tinyurl.com/Paul 50th B-Day. You will see the list that I created on Amazon of the completely foolish and juvenile gifts that I would like to ideally receive. And you don't even have to give it to me in person. You can just have it shipped to me. So anyway, that's what's going on. So if you're looking for something more important to focus on than whether an athlete is taking a knee during the National Anthem, there you go. I just gave you a really, really important. I'm sorry, that's shameless. That's so shameless. But anyway, seriously, as someone who sings the National Anthem, who takes it very seriously, do not mistake for a minute that I am in any way denigrating the value of showing respect, because I think I sing it because I am proud and honored to do so every single time. In fact, sometimes I even have to fight back being emotional when I sing it. You may think that sounds weird, but it's because I take it very seriously. It means a great deal to me. And I'm telling you, as somebody who regards it in that sense and who performs the song and does so with honor and respect, that someone sitting or not standing or not putting their hand over their heart because of some belief or principle they have, totally okay with me, because they are actually demonstrating the freedoms that the flag represents. However, some knucklehead who wants to use that time to make fun of other people, or even worse, just stand in the stands texting on their phone with one hand, holding a beer with the other hand while yucking up or talking with their buddies, that's the individual who is showing disrespect to the flag. So if you want to talk to me about getting people to be more respectful, let's start with those yokels rather than worrying about somebody who is attempting to show a principled stance for something. I will also just add on a little caveat here as well, though. I'm not really sure how much the whole not standing is actually accomplishing. I mean, I'll be honest with you. I know that the original reason that it started was to raise awareness for social justice. Okay, great. Raise awareness for social justice. Well, there's plenty of awareness raised now. What does it accomplish? I mean, it's a legitimate question. What does this specific kind of protest, what does it accomplish? Well, it raises visibility. Okay, and how does that translate into solving a problem? See, that's where a lot of these protests slip up. They do something for high visibility sake, but how does it translate into actually changing anything, into doing anything? That's the real challenge. That if I were able to give a challenge to those who are engaging in the protest, that's what I would say to them. Okay, great. You're doing this protest. I'm with you 100%. Yeah, I'm not going to kneel with you. I'm always going to stand. I just am. You want to kneel because of some principled thing? Great. But I want to also know, what is your plan to then translate that awareness into something that makes a difference? Hopefully we'll see something. Right now, I honestly can't say what it would be. But that is not my concern, because I'm not engaging in the protest itself. And so I'm going to let you go. It's getting dark. And I will see you next time from my front porch.